So ChatGPT debuted to the world only 4 months ago, but it's had one of those glass shatter effects on the world. And ever since then, the world has just kind of assumed that we're in the future now and AI can now do anything and everything we want.
You mean we're in the future?
But anybody who works with these tools regularly can tell you they are not perfect. Far from it. So today, let's take a deeper look at whether AI is actually ready for business, what you can do with it now, and how to know what kind of AI your business is really ready for. My name is Trent Kennelly. I'm a Web3 marketing strategist, and this is the best place for you to learn about Web3, NFTs, and how to market it all. So that sounds good to you and you're excited. Make sure that you like this video, subscribe to my channel if you're into it, comment to let me know how you're using AI in your business or how you're thinking about doing it. I would love to know and get some detail from you, but until then, let's get started. All right, so is AI actually business ready? So to answer this question, we need to talk about the needs of the business. What are you actually looking to do when you're selling using AI? You probably want one of two things. You either want efficiency in the sales process and or a better customer facing dynamic, right? Now, the first seems somewhat straightforward. You want to be able to have it do all of that task-sided stuff for you. So if you capture a lead on your website, you want to be able to transfer it to the right salesperson or dynamically identify the right path to send that lead down, marketing wise, email wise, whatever. And actually, you can do that right now. I mean, you can, for instance, go to Zapier.com. You can find a few of the apps that you need to connect together. You can send some instructions and you're kind of on your way, right? But that's not really the same thing as we're talking about with AI, right? I mean, in that scenario, you're going through this process of figuring out which two systems you need to work with, then finding the exact functions that you need to use, whether they're even on Zapier as a possibility or not. That's a big question. And then you need to find how to format the data and get everything working just the way it needs to work the way you want, right? And yeah, it is way better to use something like Zapier than to write pure code versions of these connections where you're, like on JavaScript or something and you're writing and connecting APIs and all that mess, but it can still take a very long time using something like Zapier. So the only way that AI really becomes very interesting here is if you can get on some chat interface with your AI and you can say, hey, AI, connect WordPress to ActiveCampaign. For the pages that mention art on my site, I want you to add those users to art-related email lists and send them this specific email sequence or something like that, right? Can you do that right now? No, not really. I mean, you can have a chat provide you the code that you're looking for, but that's not really the same thing as a description that turns into an action where you just say, do this, and that thing is done. But that said, something like Zapier or an API connection, that's something that you need to set up once or twice and you're done. What about a moment-to-moment sales and marketing task? Like, for instance, you're on a chat with a potential customer and you don't have the answer to a question and you need to forward that to a colleague to get them the answer that they need. Normally, you'd have to type up this summary and send it off, and it can take time, right? But that can also be a real hassle when you're dealing with like 10 chats all at the same time. How do you write this summary while also responding to 9 other people, right? That's very difficult, which is why what Intercom is doing here is so interesting. So for the uninitiated, Intercom is easily the best chat tool on the market today. They have the top of the line segments, list metrics, automations, integrations. It's a very, very good system. And Intercom was really fast off the mark with ChatGPT's launch. They issued an announcement 8 weeks after ChatGPT premiered that they were implementing AI tools into their own systems. Really fast. So what is the launch? What did they end up doing here? Well, there's a lot. So you can automatically summarize conversations to send to colleagues. You can write a boring sentence and then ask it to put it in another mood, happy, sad, whatever. You can rephrase sentences. So for instance, you can write, you'll get a new card in post in 2 days, and it'll change it to, you can expect to receive a new card by mail within 2 days. You can turn a few notes that you wrote into whole help articles. There's so much that you can do with this new update. Now, you might then be sitting back and going, all right, but those are all kind of small potatoes things. It's not really that impressive, right? But look, even though those are all small things, that's a lot of potatoes that you have to deal with every single day. So think about all the potatoes that you have to deal with every single day. It's a huge pile of potatoes. So yeah, you're working on little potato things, but now you got a bunch of bots working on all your little potatoes, right? So it's not as bad. It helps a lot of things like you wouldn't really think of. Now, that's just one example, right? But it's a really clear way of seeing how AI is going to change the way that you work. And if it changes the way that you do important but annoying things, then it's going to make more time for you to really get to selling, which leads to the next thing that AI should be able to do, and the one that you're probably most interested in, customer-facing dynamic conversations. So the important question here is, what can these bots do on the customer-facing side of things? And I have to be honest, this just isn't as fun. The answer is that they can do far less when it comes to customer facing stuff. But why is that? I mean, it seems like it should be able to, right? So it's due to this concept called a hallucination. So most likely, if you're on this video, you've spent a fair amount of time playing with ChatGPT by now. I know I have spent way too much time on it. And what you might notice is that there are times that the answers it gives to your questions are just incredibly wrong, like way out of left field, but it'll give you that answer in a very confident manner, like it's the only possible answer.
Of course it is.
That's called a hallucination. And it's a big reason that companies aren't in a rush to make customer-facing AI a thing just yet. That said, Microsoft has issued a new version of Bing that includes AI chat functions. So you can watch this video to learn more about that. But what's important about this is the fact that they've tried to put out a customer-facing bot to answer queries in a deeper way than search has done in the past. Now, it isn't perfect either, and that's pretty clear if you work with it for a little while. But what you're going to find is that because it can search the web while also answering your question, those questions can have more accuracy than you're going to find with other systems. I mean, ChatGPT itself claims that it can't search the web when it's answering your question. Now, I think that that's garbage and it's not true, but it claims that it can't do that, and sometimes it limits its responses as a result. Whereas Bing here is able to, and that's kind of the baked-in purpose of it, search the web and give you the proper answer. All right, so now that we have a bead on what AI looks like right now and the fact that it can absolutely help you sell, how can you know what kind of AI your business actually needs to function at its best? Because honestly, even if there's like this amazing assortment of possibilities, that doesn't mean that you should be using everything out there. It's the same reason that you probably don't need Salesforce if you're a tiny company with 10 clients a year. It's just way too much bang for way too much buck, and it can bankrupt you before you have a chance to get any real use out of it. And this is where Harvard Business Review has some awesome insights. So they've created this kind of AI sales success matrix. And so this matrix takes into account the fact that some businesses have a lot of small accounts versus other businesses that have a lot of big accounts. And it looks at kind of what those relationships look like, how deep those relationships are, how sophisticated things are, etc. Okay. And so it looks at how much AI and what type of AI you need based on that level of customizability. So it's this line graph that puts the level of your relationship on the y-axis and the level of process sophistication needed on the x-axis. And as you form deeper, more complex relationships, the type of AI that you need is going to get more complex as well. So let's talk about a few different strategies that you can use for each bubble on the line here. So in the bottom left, you're looking at efficiency tools. You really just need ways to better manage and sort all of the leads that are coming in. If you're dealing with this level of clientele, you're probably selling to SaaS or to the mass market, e-commerce goods, that sort of stuff. This is for companies that need more time in the day and don't necessarily need to spend a lot of time on a per prospect basis. So tools like the AI tools with Intercom are a great option here. I mean, you can look at Zapier too, that's a great option, but wouldn't really count that as AI, right? Next, in the second bubble, you're trying to better identify opportunities. So AI in this area would help to highlight trends in your marketing and analytics data. It might also help to identify new target groups that you could be pursuing as opposed to what you've assumed to be true up to this point, right? So this requires a little bit more sophistication to use because it's assuming on some level that you're fairly well set up in your initial targets and you're looking to further expand what's being offered. Now, I've heard great things about Accenture's Value Insights platform tool that kind of runs through this sort of analysis, but honestly, I haven't tested it to say for sure whether it's any good. That said, I have yet to see anything at this point from Accenture that isn't a high quality tool. So I assume it's probably pretty good. And then on the third level, you're looking in kind of that same idea as that second bubble, but you're going deeper. It's mining all that data related to your business that's available to AI and finding those bits of information that you can really only find if you had a huge research budget or a lot of manpower behind that research. There you go. Incremental yet huge changes to business are going to make things better no matter what level you're at. This space is moving at lightning pace right now because everybody wants to make sure that they're not the ones missing the boat. So watch this space, and I think you're going to start to see a lot of opportunities that are coming your way. I hope that this kind of helped you to see that. Let me know where your business is in the AI game. I would love to know and help you out if I can. Otherwise, make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel if you're into it, and I will catch you in the next one.